Welcome to Garden Sanity. I'm Laura and I garden in Zone 7, Southern New Jersey. And this morning I want to show you, just as the sun comes up, it's around 7 a.m. in mid-April, I'm going to call them late blooming daffodils in an early spring garden. And the reason I say early spring even though it's mid-April is because we did have several snows this season that actually made everything late. So I'm looking forward to showing you all of that in a minute. But first, what I want to say is I want to say a huge thank you. I filmed a video last week and shared with you why I've been gone since late November after having a death in my family that was unexpected. I don't want to go into it now, but I want to say thank you to all of you. I had over 100 comments of people offering sympathy, condolences, empathy, sharing their own stories. I can't tell you how much it meant to me. I shed quite a few tears reading all of your comments, and I've read them more than once. I have a longer thank you that I posted in the comments on that video. It's the video just prior to this one. So if you go to the comments and you look for the pinned comment at the top, I've written more extensively about it. But now let's get to these gorgeous spring blooming flowers. So we have a grass-free front yard, and that was by design. We moved in here about 2007, and in 2014 we said, let's do it. My husband hated mowing the lawn, and I loved to garden, so it was win-win for both of us. So we wanted a park-like setting for ourselves, and over time we're getting there. And in the spring, I'm really happy with all the daffodils I planted. Now let me just show you how pretty as the sun comes up this yucca looks with daffodils, and back there are some Ivory Prince Hellebores that have been going strong since February. It's now mid-April. The daffodils around the crepe myrtle tree are Poetica actea daffodils, and you can see I tried to fill them in all the way around. I didn't quite make it, but they are gradually filling in, so eventually I might get a full complete circle. But where there aren't daffodils, there were beautiful crocuses this spring and early spring. So these are Ivory Prince Hellebores, and you can see how they've almost started to change their color into like a more mauvey pink. If I go over here to the rest of them, you can see they're still a little bit on the brighter side. They get a little bit more sun. I don't know if they started a little bit later. And then with this yucca plant, and that's a color guard yucca, you can see how beautiful they look. And all you have to do, and I have a video on this, is to cut back the leaves just as they're starting to bloom. Or you can even wait until they're in full bloom. And what I love about a lot of the new Hellebore breeds is that they're being bred now to face more upwards. Originally, a lot of the Hellebores droop downwards, and what people would do in Victorian times, and even still to today, is take the flowers off and float them in a bowl so that you could really see their beautiful colors. But I like keeping them in the garden. Now behind there, let's go in there carefully and I can show you what this is. This is the bark of my Muskogee crepe myrtle tree. So pretty. And these are the daffodils I mentioned. Beautiful white with, look at that orange that surrounds. Do you hear these birds? I hope you do. It's just so pretty. But yeah, the orange, dark orange surrounds the yellow, and then you have those beautiful white petals. Just pretty. And then over here, you see an early blooming tete-a-tete. One last final bloom on that one. And then this is chocolate chipajuga. And no, that's not a dandelion. I'll show you that in a second. And just to show you what I'm climbing through here, I have not trim back the pinky winkies yet. I'm going to do that next week. As you can see, there's several of the buds starting out. But I'm going to climb through this so I can show you the chocolate chip ajuga close up. Now this is a beautiful spreading ground cover. If you're in the south, ajuga can be invasive, so I caution you. But here where I am, where we have very cold winters, sometimes they're mild winters, but this year, for example, we had a colder one. It took a while for them to kick in, but they're nice and green now. They can be evergreen with a little bit of reddish in the wintertime, unless they're covered by snow. And they spread, and I added a few more. You see one right there, and I added this guy right here because I want them to spread even more. Rabbits don't like them, and I'm trying to protect these beautiful Fothergilla shrubs right in front there that haven't started blooming yet. They haven't even leafed out, so they're coming. And this guy is a little Leo leopard's bane. Cute, right? Looks like a dandelion. My husband always teases me. He said, it looks like we got a dandelion in the bed. But they will start out one or two, and then they'll grow more as the season goes on. You'll have more yellow flowers, which I think are very pretty. So this sea of ajuga, I love that it continues to fill in, and if it starts to spread too much, you can just easily pull it out. Again, I know where it's invasive, you're rolling your eyes right now because you're like, Laura, no, I can't stand this plant. But up here in the more northern climates, we can handle it. But what a beautiful, beautiful flower. Now the sun is almost blinding in this shot. This is the Fothergilla, but I wanted to show you how the ajuga has filled in all behind it, protecting it from rabbits. And the ajuga's even crawled in between these two rocks, which I love. That's just so pretty. And when it's not in bloom, it's just a pretty ground cover. So I really like it. It's great to fill in spots where you aren't quite sure what you want to put there. I just love it. And there's actually more back there as well. It's very hard to see. But I can only step in here so far without stepping on other little plants, so I have to be very careful. So in the beginning of the season, there were a lot of the tete-a-tete daffodils that were the earliest blooming. And you can see those right here. And these you never need to deadhead because these come off on their own. I mean, they're very minuscule. No big deal to deadhead them. And there's one last guy here too. I still think the dried ones are just as pretty. So these were, oh, no, we got another fresher one. Hello. Talk about spring's renewal, right? So these were the early blooming daffodils. And then we have the later blooming ones now. And I showed you the Poetica actea daffodils, the white ones back there. And these are red Devons. And these I've planted all over. And red Devons are known for their beautiful red-orange trumpets with their pale yellow petals. Just beautiful. I mean, these are just stunning. And the way, like I said, it's early morning. And as the sun starts to hit them, they really glow. Isn't that beautiful? Now what's also really beautiful, in addition to the daffodils this year in my garden, is this. This is Veronica Georgia Blue. And Georgia doesn't mean the state of Georgia, it means Georgia in Europe, which I guess is also a state. It is so soft. I wish you could touch it. It is so soft to just touch it like this. It's so delicate and yet so tough. I mean, look at that. Now, I planted this last year, so this is my first year seeing it bloom. It started blooming April 1st, and it is April, I don't even know the date right now. April 17th, I think it is. Just look how beautiful. Let me see if I can get it even closer. Isn't that something? So this is a ground cover, although it is kind of high. I'd say maybe about, not quite a foot. They do say it's evergreen, and here you can see its beautiful color with tinges of burgundy. However, we had so much snow and tons of leaves on the bed. The parts that weren't covered definitely looked brown, very dark burgundy. The parts that I uncovered, bright green. But in about, I'd say 3 weeks, this is what you have. So it didn't take long for it to bounce back, so to speak, and there's so many buds on here. It's going to be a long bloomer and look absolutely beautiful. And I planted 2 other ones, so let me show you. So that's where I was down there. Then you have 3 Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus, which keep their evergreen all winter. And then here's the other 2 that I planted of the Veronica Georgia Blue. How beautiful, right? This one is a little bit behind the other ones. And this is a spreader, but unlike the Ajuga I showed you, this is a very, very calm spreader. And this is something that I think you'd want to have spread because it's just that beautiful. So again, I really like it among the daffodils for some additional color. And I'm not quite sure how long it's going to bloom, but we'll see. Right behind it is a totally tangerine geum that I also just planted last year. So we will see if these 2 get to enjoy blooms together. Stay tuned. Now that's where I was in the front of the bed. You see where the yucca is and the white daffodils. And now I'm on what's called sort of the half circle of the curved part of the half circle bed. These are Leucojum Gravetide Giant. Sometimes these are called summer snowflake or spring snowflake. I've showed these in prior videos, but they're never, you can never get enough of them. So I'm fine, and I hope you're fine with me showing them again. But they look like little Victorian lampshades. And they're really filling in. I mean, over time, they definitely multiply and fill in, and thank goodness, because they are just beautiful. And again, I'm very fortunate. This happened last year too, where they're blooming at the same time as the later blooming daffodils. Some years it didn't happen that way, but let me show you the Victorian lampshade look. Isn't that incredible? There's little green blotches on the edges of those little Victorian lampshade looking flowers. Just stunning. And having them massed like this is really great because other things are just starting. Again, you have the early blooming tete-a-tetes that have finished up. This is some Petite Jenny and Henri Lickness varieties. Haven't started yet. We've got Totally Tangerine Geum that's just getting started. So as you can see, there's all these plants in here that you don't see. They can start doing their thing while the Gravetide Giant blooms just beautifully. You can see more of what we were going for with this park-like setting for our front yard. Here's from another angle, just so you can see how this all looks. And in this bed, the Candytuft is just getting started. You know, you might think, oh, that looks so pretty now. Just wait. For those of you that have this plant, you know what I'm talking about, right? These flowers will blanket the plant almost. Okay, here's a patch that I can use as an example. See these guys? That is what all the Candytuft is going to look like. You're not going to see any green. And you can see all the flower buds, little flowers just starting to open up. Now, despite the fact that it's 39 degrees out this morning, tomorrow and Sunday we're supposed to have super hot weather, so everything's going to pop. Just look at how intricate and beautiful the Candytuft flowers are close up. Now I have two videos on Candytuft. One, how to grow and care for it, and the other is how to prune it after it blooms. So make sure to check those out. I'll link to those below in the description area for you. So that's where I was. And now I want to show you in this foundation bed these adorable little hyacinths. They're grape hyacinths, otherwise called muscari. Little tiny guys. And I planted a few bulbs and they just popped up in between the Candytuft. So I leave it. I think it's adorable. The rabbits obviously haven't gotten to them yet, which is good, but sometimes they do, which is bad. I have a lot of work to do in this bed yet, but I wanted to show you. This is the Kramer's Red Winter Heath, and I'm telling you, this thing has been going strong since December. It started, a few blooms started coming out in early December, which is the earliest it's ever happened for me. And here we are mid-April, and it is still blooming its heart out. So definitely worth buying this plant. Again, I have a few videos on my channel here about Kramer's Red Winter Heath. So if you search my channel, you'll find those and you'll learn all about the plant, how to care for it. These daffodils are Cragfords that are almost done. Well, let's say they're about half done. Very pretty, like a creamy white daffodil with a beautiful, very tiny trumpet, bright orange. Just really sweet. In this empty spot back here, I think I'm going to plant more Hellebores. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to put something there. And all of these bushes that are providing some beautiful spring green, these were all the tete-a-tete daffodils. Now, tete-a-tete daffodils are small. They're miniature daffodils. But what happens is after they're done blooming, the stems keep reaching up and reaching out to get more of that sunshine as they start to take in nutrients for the bulbs for the following year's show. So you can see this one is a little bit shorter. Let me step back so you can see the difference. So that one's a little shorter. And those are getting a little bit taller, but that's just all part of the process. So these are miniature when they're blooming, but they get a little bit taller with the greenery once they're finished and the greenery is trying to take in more energy. So there's all the beds over there. And my shadow filming. And I'm going to save this bed for the next video, but I wanted to at least show you the beautiful daffodils glowing in the early morning sun. It's just so pretty. The red and yellow twig dogwoods mixed in together along with the daffodils is just a beautiful sight in spring. But like I said, this is upcoming, a video that I'll be doing soon, probably next, and I'll explain what all those little skewers are and what else is going on in this bed. A quick look at the lamppost bed. The Manhattan euonymus was looking kind of sad all winter because it had so much snow and rain, and we just didn't have a good winter. It was almost on a yellowish side because we had several freezes. That would be the main reason that happened. But then last week, as if overnight, all this new beautiful bright green growth happened. And here I'll show you. You can see these were the older leaves. So you can see, you know, nothing major, a little bit of winter damage, but they'll eventually fall off because all these new ones take over. So that's beautiful, and yes, that'll need to be pruned at some point. And then I added some daffodils in here. I've got some more winter heath blooming, doing gorgeous. I don't even know if that's proper English. More red devons, which are just so exquisite. The little lime punch is just starting to bud out. Managed to keep a few of the flowers on that didn't get blown off. And I'll come out here probably in the next week to prune these a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. And what I want to do here, and I'm determined to do here this year, is once these daffodils go, especially the tete-a-tetes, which are in such a nice clump, it's just bare ground here in the rest of the season. So I think I'm going to put a sedum here. I think I want to do Midnight Velvet. I have it in another spot that I was trying out. Walter's Garden sent one to me to trial a couple years ago, and it's been doing beautifully. So I think I might stick one there because it's burgundy, very dark, almost black color, and then it's rose flowers in late summer into fall. I think would look really nice in this spot. And maybe I'll stick a couple annuals in here. Again, stay tuned as I completely get back into gardening, which has been feeling fantastic. So that's it for today. It feels good to get back in the garden. I have been weeding and cleaning and just starting to prune and uncovering flowers. And spring definitely has hope and renewal in it, and it's felt fantastic. I hope it does for you as well. Until next time, happy gardening.